So how powerful are these Pauper cards? They got banned after all, and our next Pauper card that we're going to look at is Disciple of the Vault. A 1 black, 1/1 creature. Whenever an artifact is put into a graveyard from the battlefield, you may have target opponent lose 1 life. You know, this card single-handedly is like the reason a lot of people tell me we can't unban the artifact lands in Modern. The only format where artifact lands are banned. You gotta learn from Standard, you gotta learn from Pauper, Nikachu. This is the pull of the Vault, you gotta respect this card. No, not necessarily. Now, Disciple of the Vault, I understand, with a Tog, might be quite dangerous because this is your sack outlet. Sacrifice an artifact, a Tog gets +2/+2 until end of turn. This thing can win by itself, you know, you're attacking and you fling it. But what about when you don't have the sack outlet to sack those artifact lands? What happens when you don't have the sack outlet? Is there still a sack outlet in the format? Could they not have done a switcheroo where they banned the Atog, unbanned the Disciple of the Vault? Like, I think this thing is only as good as the sack outlet. Good morning, everyone. Good morning. And it would appear that the ban list is very heavily against Affinity. They're not giving it an inch of room to get out of control. Because they got a lot of the good cards there anyway. Oh yeah, you people so it's Disciple. It's not a Canadian thing. This is a Nikachu thing. Disciple of the Vault. You know, just looking at the damn card, it always looks like. How am I supposed to pronounce it any other way? Is Disciple even a word? Okay, Disciple of the Vault. Or there's already enough people in the comment section ragging on me about this. But is this really ban-worthy at this point? They banned the sack outlet. The only way cards are going into the graveyard now is if you block the creature and it dies. Pauper definitely doesn't have good sack outlets. Sarcasm, huh? And it's a Tog? Oh, whatever. I don't care so much for the pronunciation of cards. Treasures are their own sack outlet. Okay, so, well, how many treasures are there in your general Affinity deck right now in Pauper? Is it really large? It's a huge part of their deck? Or is it not such a large part of their deck? I don't, like, whatever. I mean, I see the potential in this card, but I would have to actually see it to believe it in paper. This requires a lot of setup, and it's not an artifact in by itself. So if you've destroyed the other artifacts, you have this Disciple of the Vault on the battlefield. I mean, you can't sack him for, like, the last final point of artifact damage. And also, if you have multiples of these... Well, I mean, I guess it doesn't matter. Krark Clan Shaman. Krark Clan Shaman. Sacrifice an artifact. Krark Clan Shaman deals 1 damage to each creature without flying. How stable your mana... I mean, I guess you could just have 2 artifact lands in your deck, the red one and the black one. So this is the combo, but this is another artifact in your deck that... Sorry, another non-artifact in your deck. Deals 1 damage to each creature without flying. Doesn't deal damage to the opponent. I understand the Atog at least can go in for the win. In multiple ways. It also counted opponent's artifacts. That's totally fine, but the opponent's not always going to have an artifact. Disciple is such a cool card too. Too bad it always becomes a combo piece instead of a grindy pinger. Pauper Affinity is like standard Affinity. They had to ban like 9 cards so it stopped dominating. Remember, they also have artifact. Yeah, they have the artifact dual lands too, but that makes it a slower deck. Maybe slightly slower. Just slightly slower. Deadly Dispute, Reckoner's Bargain, Chromatic Star, the Shaman, Ichor Wellspring, Blood tokens. But can you fit it all into one deck? Is it all going into the Affinity deck? You get a pass on pronunciation occasionally because you're a good player. Because occasionally, I'm a good player. Just occasionally enough. I need to put Disciple of the Vault in my commander decks that play black. Man, I'm sure this card was worth being banned at the time. Probably it's still worth being banned because you don't want to give too much to those artifact decks, but I don't see this one. I don't see this one like the last ones. You would need a lot of artifact sacrifice. I think. I don't know, maybe that shaman is good enough. Maybe the shaman is good enough, but it's only there to combo with this. It has no other utility. At least the Atog, you pump it up, you can attack for the win. You pump it up, you can fling it to the opponent. But this has no utility, very little utility, I should say. I mean, I guess it's a good sideboard card versus the fairies decks. Just ping off all those fairies in the air. Affinity uses all of them. Check the deck lists. I've tried to check the deck list. They're extinct. They're just extinct, like a dinosaur. The best artifact deck we can find is Grixis Control with Galvanic Blast. You see, this is the best we can get for affinity. You show me a pure Pauper deck, and whatever. I don't see it. Artifacts are hurting. They're hurting a little bit out there. They need some help. Oh my god, Landmark Networking with a huge super chat. Why did I stop playing Magic in South Africa? Too many cheetahs. That's cute. Thank you so much for the super chat. Thanks for dropping by. I find lists better on Magic MTG Top 8. Well, that just goes to show that, like, of the latest deck lists, because MTG Goldfish only shows the latest stuff, that it's hurting. You know, I don't want to go back in time when Atog was still legal. They banned the Atog, and now maybe this isn't so bad. Maybe this isn't so bad. But then maybe if we unban it, that's just enough for the affinity decks to go over the top again. Alright, moving on to the next archetype that is also horribly... it's being suppressed in the metagame. Storm! Empty the Warrens. 1 red, 3 generic. Create 2 1/1 red goblin creature tokens and Storm. Well, Chatterfang is banned. And, well, I mean, this is a more expensive version of Chatterfang, but you get, like, it's double the cost, but you get double the value. You get 2 1/1 red goblin creature tokens instead of one stupid little squirrel. Never unban Empty. Is there just no way for the metagame to deal with this? Like, there's no Pyroclasm? Is there no cheap sweepers? I guess it's hard to have a sweeper at common, isn't it? No wonder this format is so grindy. Basically, people get to do whatever the hell they want. By the way, congrats on Pleasant Kenobi's shout out in the cheater video. Oh yeah, he had a great video. He had a fantastic video. We need to make more cheater videos out there. We need more. The only deck more banned than Affinity is Storm. Electrickery and Fiery Cannonade. Is that it? Electrickery is not bad. Especially for Empty the Warrens, but not enough people have access to this. Deals 1 damage to a target creature you don't control, and you can overload it for 1 in generic. So that is good enough, but only 1 color has access to it. We need a little bit more in white and black, at least. Maybe even blue. Bounce everything. Empty was so fun to play in Time Spiral Draft. Storm was pretty broken all around, wasn't it? Storm isn't too busted. Whoa, that's a hot take. That's gonna be very that's for the unpopular take stream. There is a bunch of -1/-1 sweepers and a handful of -2/-2. Then what's the big problem with this? I'm telling you, we gotta put Damping Sphere. And should be told it, like, it could be a common. Why not? It's like a weird card even at uncommon. If a land is tapped for 2 or more mana, it produces... I mean, it will deal with Tron. It will deal with Storm. We need to downshift this to common for the Pauper players. Each spell a player casts that costs 1 more to cast for each other spell that player casts has cast this turn. We need that. Okay, so Empty the Warrens, I agree. I think this is an absolutely busted card. It seems they banned all the storm wind conditions. All storm wind conditions, they are not allowed. Get out of here. Alright, moving on. Fall from favor. Alright, so fall from favor. What is it's an aura. Is this like the only aura banned ever? 1 blue, 2 generic. Enchant creature. When fall from favor enters the battlefield, tap enchanted creature and you become the monarch. Enchanted creature doesn't untap during its controller's untap step unless that player is the monarch. Wait, is there like some way to abuse being the monarch or something? Because other than that, it's a 3 mana removal spell. Removal plus monarch is busted. 3 mana enchantment removal. That's too far for Pauper. Good God. That's a format with lightning bolt, for crying out loud. You got lightning bolt and you're complaining about this? Wasn't the monarch the thing the issue? So what's... okay. Excuse Nikachu while he learns what the hell the monarch is. Monarch MTG. We gotta go to the MTG wiki. Shows how often I play with the monarch mechanic. It's a player's design that was introduced for multiplayer games in Conspiracy Take the Crown. The mechanic returned in Commander Legends and Advent blah blah blah. Only one player at a time can be the monarch. The monarch has the following ability. At the beginning of the monarch's end step, draw a card. What? At the beginning of the monarch's end step, so you get an extra card draw per turn. In addition to several cards in Conspiracy Take the Crown, get better or have additional ability if you're the monarch. That's ridiculous. Okay, that's stupid. I'm starting to think, can I have this in Modern? No, it's not legal. It's not legal in Modern. That's pretty pushed. That is a pretty pushed card. And how do you get the monarch back? Like, do you have to specifically have a card that would make you the monarch again? That is pretty ridiculous. Yeah, double card draw basically for 3 mana. And we already know some of these, like, cards that like, anything that'll get you 2 cards a turn is pretty much banned. And there's Bonder's Ornament. Costs you 3 mana, but then you have to pay an additional 4 mana to get the card. And this is like a Bonder's Ornament where you don't pay any more mana and you stop their creature. Or you force them, in response to fall from favor, to destroy your own creature so that they don't get that card draw. 2 cards for your 1 card for opponent? Really? Hold on. Yeah, 1 card, you mean their 1 draw step. Spencer Ward says, I would assume becoming the monarch in a control deck would be as good as the Forbidden strategy back in the day. You mean Ophidian? Ophidian? Card draw is always good. Dumpster Fire. Being the monarch is such a powerful effect in a 1v1 game that even if it was 3 mana become monarch, it would be played. The fact that it is removal is even better. That's pretty disgusting. Guys, we just convinced Nikachu that Pauper is a weak format with this banning. This card is actually pretty good. I mean, if it's like... okay, you lost your creature, and now I get to draw 2 cards every single turn. That's pretty disgusting. Look at the first monarch token printed. It's misprinted on all tokens. I'm not sure what it is. Fall from favor is too much oppressive for a very strong color. Oh yeah, this is blue, right? This is blue, already a pretty dominant color in Modern. Sorry, in Pauper. Monarch is insane in Legacy too. See Palace Jailer. You need to damage the monarch to become the monarch. Okay, so that's how it works. So you can become the monarch by just dealing damage. Now you're the monarch and you start drawing cards, extra cards each turn. Now that is a snowball mechanic. How do you get back from that? And especially, like, it shouldn't be put on anything that costs 3 mana. Now, I'm pretty familiar with Palace Jailer. At least it's 4 mana. Enters the battlefield, you become the monarch. When Palace Jailer enters the battlefield, exile target creature an opponent controls until an opponent becomes the monarch. So huge swing in your favor. But if you kill this thing, it all goes back to normal. Or hold on, you have to be until an opponent becomes the monarch. Oh no, you exile that thing forever until they become the monarch. Disgusting. Once someone is the monarch, you steal it by dealing damage to the player. I stand behind Wizards of the Coast's brave stance on Pauper Island bannings. Forbidian was a strategy. Oh, I see. Forbid plus Ophidian. Got it. Use which was a strategy used by Ophidian and Forbid. Ophidian drew the extra cards. Forbid with buyback used that extra card every turn to lock out a top decking opponent. Yeah, well, we were just looking at Palace Jailer is a card. Like, Monarch is a mechanic so strong it saw play in Legacy. That's how strong this mechanic is. So it's not just for the commons. It's also for the... so not for just the commons and Pauper. It's also pretty good even in a powerful format like Legacy. I heard David. The Monarch token is misprinted. It says at the beginning of your end step instead of at the beginning of your end step. At the beginning your end step. Oh, well, whatever. You know, when you read a lot of Magic cards, I don't feel like they're very grammatic. They're not always grammatically correct anyway. There are eight Pauper cards that give the Monarch. None of them are cheaper than 4 mana. Oh yeah, this is a beating. This is a complete beating. I totally agree with this banning in this format with this mechanic. This is a pretty stupid mechanic, by the way. I think this is a really dumb mechanic. This mechanic should not cost less than 5 mana. I don't think it should cost less than 5 mana unless it's like a mythic rare or something. All right, we got the next one. We've got another beautiful, beautiful blue card, Fanatic Research. This card is actually banned in a lot of formats. It's not banned in just Pauper. It's also banned in Legacy. It's a pretty good combo. It's a good combo card. It's a good like graveyard enabler. Frantic Search, 1 blue, 2 generic. Draw 2 cards, then discard 2 cards. But then you get to untap up to 3 lands. So if you've got like a dual land in play, you get to net some extra mana. No matter what, the spell is free. I'm not exactly sure how they abuse it in Pauper. Does anyone know what it's a very good card, but what is the reason it is gone? Trinix says, how do you become a YouTube member of the stream channel? I can't see the join button anywhere. Am I blind? It's right next to the subscribe button. Or maybe you already... No, you didn't already join. Right next to the subscribe button. Untapping Tron. Well, Tron has a lot of mana anyway. Is it really that big of a deal? Untap 3 bounce lands? That's possible. It's a combo card. Worked with Storm, and you can use it as a ritual. Okay. That's actually a pretty good answer. So it's basically was abused in Storm. I don't see it being... I mean, if there's like a good graveyard deck in Pauper... So are there any graveyard decks in Pauper? Is there a Reanimator in Pauper? Net mana, draw cards, hold up. But you don't net cards because you lose a card. You lose the Frantic Search. You loot. It is like a free Faithless looting once you get to 3 mana. And it's instant speed. Or I guess it's a free Careful Study. It's a free Careful Study. There's no flashback on this thing. Ricardo Lopez became a member. Thank you so much, Ricardo. I appreciate it. Thanks. Welcome to the coffee crew. See, that's why I get people to sub on here instead of Patreon, because everyone gets to see it, and then everyone piles in, and more people have the green, like the green name that you remember. Yeah, well, not a cantrip, but no, it's a cantrip. I mean, well, actually, what is the definition of a cantrip? Whatever, it's a loot. It's a loot. I would toss flashback cards in the yard and then use the untapped lands to cast them if I was playing Frantic Search. Oh, Pauper Cycle Storm might use this card big time. Pauper Cycle Storm. And Storm still exists, weirdly enough. You banned all the cards, but here it is, still standing. with your Dark Ritual. God, they got... Wow, do they have cards here. Dark Ritual, Songs of the Damned. They have Cabal Ritual. Yeah, they've got... I mean, these cards would never see print in Modern or anything like that. It's just a bunch of cycling cards. I can't remember. What's their way of winning? There's like some cycle payoff or something. Whenever you cycle another card, Drannith Stinger deals 1 damage to each opponent. Actually, would Frantic Search one? I don't know if Frantic... Oh my god, Lotus Petal. Yeah, ban all the combo cards for Storm. They got enough enablers. Because otherwise, you ban everything else. You either ban the payoffs or you ban like the Lotus Petals and the Dark Rituals. Just like Modern does. We don't... See, in Modern, we don't ban the payoffs. We ban the mana. We got the Ritual. They do the opposite thing. It's like the Pauper ban list and the Modern ban list. They're in like 2 different worlds. Definitely not consistent with each other. Alright, Viridian says, using Frantic Research in a conventional game of Magic the Gathering helps prevent preemptively intercept surface-to-air missiles and provide cover on multiple fronts. It breaks the Geneva Convention. I don't know why I read through the whole thing after I got through the halfway through that that comment. Storm is basically the dinosaurs in Jurassic Park. It always finds a way no matter how it's banned. Yeah, life will find a way. Life will find a way. Spare no expense. There are infinite mana, infinite draw, and mill your opponent effects in Pauper that benefit a lot from untapped lands. Okay, I'm just gonna have to trust you guys. It's a very good card. I don't know exactly how you break it in Modern, but I will trust that blue decks have a lot of good things, so you're all screwed if this thing is unbanned. Trunic says, alright, PSA, it seems iOS devices don't show the join button on the YouTube app. My devices are somewhat old, but love the content. Oh, thanks so much, Trunic. Well, then you're going to have to become a member on desktop. It's okay, you can do it after the stream. But actually, I don't see it if you do it after the stream. I prefer you do it during the stream. Log on to a computer. There's probably some way to do it. Like, or I don't know, maybe not. I don't know. Danos and Jurassic, find a way because the humans in those movies are idiots. Those dinosaurs evolved really quickly. They kept getting bigger and more dangerous. I haven't seen anything past the 3rd one. I saw the 3rd Jurassic Park and I'm like, all right, that's it. I'm done with this franchise. I like the Fischl brand Storm deck. LOL, use Gurmag Angler and Energy tab. Pauper is a wild format. What can I say? Okay, now next, a card I've never heard of. So I gotta read it for the first time. Galvanic Relay. 1 red, 2 generic. Sorcery. Exile the top card of your library. During your next turn, you may play that card. And it's got Storm. Of course! It's a Storm card. Exile the top card of your library. During your next turn, you may play that card. So basically, so how does this work? But it's during your next turn. How do you want to utilize this? You basically like storm off on 1 turn. And what, if you fizzle, you play Galvanic Relay, and then hope that your next... I mean, it basically draws you a new hand. I mean, this is basically a one-sided, like, Wheel of Fortune, because you discard your hand to... You empty your hand to enable the storm, then you just draw a whole new hand. Galvanic Relay is busted in Legacy. See Epic Gamble and the Epic Storm. Storm card, move on. Storm, period. Storm, period. Chatterstorm next turn. I'm not seeing the button either. I am on a tablet. That is funny. So maybe you have to just put... I don't know. I don't know what needs to happen. Interesting. That's good to know. Work on that, YouTube. Look, I'm losing out on membership because people don't know how to join the... I didn't even know. I had no idea. I would never looked at it. Thank God you guys can super chat. I'm gonna write that down, actually. So it digs for your storm win con. So, but yeah, but you have to like storm off on 1 turn in order to get the storm, right? So you basically go off to then go off again next turn. You at least have one more turn. It's like, what's the fastest you can get this out? I guess you can get this out turn 2. So you just like, so if you, assuming you draw, I don't know, 6 plus 6, you storm for 6 or more, you probably win from there. This card survived for several months after the Chatterstorm ban. So even after they banned Chatterstorm, they still needed to ban this. This is like one of the more recent bans. They should say when cards got banned. I need to know when. I need a timeline here. It's like Storm Light Up the Stage. This card helps if you can't storm off. Okay. So you like play a few useless spells, Galvanic Relay, dig for some more cards. You can turn 1 it. You can turn 1 it and consistently set up storm kills. Pretty sick. Should write down membership milestone chat. What does that mean? Like if I get a certain number of members, we open a box or something? Any cards printed in Double Masters, that could be a good candidate for a banding. Yeah, I never looked at the commons. This was exclusively a Modern Horizons card. Modern Horizons 2. That's a new one. Or new, as in like it's, I don't know, it's like a year old. Darth Vader Zim says, I think it can be a safety net in case you can't close out everything on your first storm. And we've got Spencer Ward here with the super chat. Thank you so much. Or no, sorry, no, this is not Spencer Ward. This is the Gene. Sorry about that. The Gene! Is it just me, or when my local game store organizes a draft for 10 plus months, it's a way for them to don't say straight, hey dudes, I have a lot of unsold Crimson Vow and Ixalan. Great content as always. I have a lot of local game stores do that. Or you know what they also do sometimes? They'll say the prizes are from this set. So look, come out to F&M and the prizes today are going to be this, it's going to be Dragon's Maze. I had that before. It's like, they got to get rid of the Dragon's Maze, so here, this is the only prize we have, and you're going to get it until it's all gone. Then it's all gone, then they give you some better prizes. Yep, that happens. But it makes me wonder, like, why don't they just sit on the boxes? I mean, maybe the local game store can't, depending on the local game store, they can't afford to sit on the boxes, but whatever. They need to churn that value. You get to lethal with Keswick Flame Breather. Okay, I'm just gonna trust. This is a good card. This is a good one. All right, here's a card. This is an all-star. This next banned card, even before I see it and evaluate it, I know it's definitely ban-worthy. We've got Gataxian Probe. This little fellow probably should be even banned in the Penny format. It's legal in Penny. It's legal in Commander. It's probably Commander is the only fair format this card belongs. And even then, it's still a free spell. So if you make a Storm deck, I mean, how do you not make the Storm deck without Gataxian Probe? But banned in Pauper, banned in Legacy, banned in Modern. One at a time, they all fell down. No one... I mean, it's good for a few reasons. First, it is like a free... It also technically is a Storm card. You know, you get free Storm count. It costs no mana. It does replace itself. And most importantly, for all the decks that would want to play this, which is usually the combo decks, you get to see your opponent's hand. Oh, do you have an answer to my combo? What are you doing over there? What do I have to play around? Do I have to play around anything? Am I allowed to just combo off right now? Gataxian Pro basically dropped the shields down from the opponent. They could not... You can no longer bluff versus the combo players. And they could make incredibly accurate or perfect plays because of Gataxian Probe. Wow. It took a lot... This card was legal for a very long time in the Eternal formats. I don't know how long it was legal in Pauper. I think it was also legal in Pauper for a very, very long time. Free cantrip, messed up card. And everyone thought it was just fine. Like, what's wrong with Gataxian Probe for the longest time? It wasn't until we saw enough play out of it in like combo decks, and just the decks statistically playing Gataxian Probe were just better than the other ones, that it finally got the boot. It's restricted in vintage. It's broken. That's true. That's actually a good point. Restricted in vintage. You know the card is good when it gets restricted. That's ridiculous. That's power. Free draw, free information. And now it's free from any format. Or not free, it's jailed. Wherever, that didn't work out as well as I wanted it to. Slaps probe. You can fit so many storm count on this baby. Wow, I just looked. Dragon's Maze boxes are still the same price as the current sets. It's got no value. It used to have Voice of Resurgence, but that card got reprinted to a point where I guess no one wants those boxes. If you own that box, it's like owning it for troll reasons. We played in mono white heroic as well. Enough said. Yeah, this card belongs in a lot of decks. Gataxian Probe was banned because of the blue X decks, but the most fun use was in the Is It Blitz deck. Is there an Is It Blitz deck? It's even better now because it's got Swift Spear. It was great in Mono Blue Delver. You basically get to chart out the whole game from turn 1. Yeah, see your opponent's hand, sculpt the top of your library with Brainstorm and Ponder. Good God, this format has like really there's a lot of busted commons. What can we say? There's a lot of busted commons. Trunic, with Force Negation printed in Modern, do you think the probe can come back? Absolutely not. The value saying that. Force negating a Gataxian probe is the absolute last thing you want to do. Let's say you're a combo player. You play Gataxian probe, and your opponent responds with Force negation pitching a blue card. Well, probably the coast is clear anyway, because at the very least, you exchanged one of their hardcore answers to your combo with the Gataxian probe, so that is not a good reason at all. Have you seen the price of Maze's End? It's nuts. I've not. Let's quickly go to our most reliable source. Speaking of Force negation, didn't it go up because they made a bunch of Maze cards? It's on its way. Yeah, Dragon's Maze. Now Maze's End, the laughing stock of Dragon's Maze, is making a comeback. This card is legal in Penny Dreadful? It is. As long as it's a penny. Online, that is. Phyrexian mana was the main problem. Absolutely. I mean, Peak doesn't see any play. Or hardly any play. Hardly anything. Is It Blitz was Kiln Fiend and the other similar guy. Oh yeah, I know. I think I know what you're talking about. Kiln Fiend is pretty good. Probe should never return. I agree. This is an incredibly powerful card, so no doubt about it. Alright. Next banned Pauper card. We've got Grape Shot. So, Storm card. The Storm card. The Storm card of all Storm cards. The funny thing is it's like legal everywhere else, but it's banned in Pauper. See, they took a different approach in Pauper. They're like, we're banning the win conditions, but we're keeping the enablers. In Modern, they're like, we ban enablers, but we keep the win conditions. Which actually, I sort of agree, but I guess maybe there'll just be enough replacements no matter what in Pauper that... there's no good... The problem is there's no good answers to any of these combo cards. There's nothing. Oh, Chris Ross, thanks so much for the super chat. Bonus member milestone chat is the other way to send a highlighted message. You never see those messages, only chat does. This needs fixing. Oh, bonus member. Well, it's because I'm on a different client. I'm not actually on YouTube doing this stream. I'm on a client called StreamYard, which I can use to click the chat and then your chat pops up. But yeah, so if anything, it's StreamYard needs to fix that so that I can see all those messages. Yeah, I don't see those. Sorry about that. But thanks everyone for who's a member and stays a member. Yeah, Storm card. Next, I think Grape Shot was banned from the beginning, like cranial plating. I don't think they should have banned cranial plating. I don't know. I don't know about that one. Even Burn used to use it. Yeah, it's not that bad even for Burn. Rattle off a few spells, float mana, Fire Blast, Grape Shot. Works all the same. Alright, so given that we've already talked about so many Storm cards. Oh, wow, this ban list is just full of Storm cards. Let's go to an interesting one. This existed for a very long time. Now, Gush, blue, 4 mana. It's 5 mana. How is this thing banned? It's an instant. You may return, but alternatively, you may return 2 islands you control to their owner's hands rather than pay Gush's mana cost. Draw 2 cards. So, how does... how fair is this? Well, it was banned in Legacy and restricted in Vintage. I hope that says something about how powerful the card is. It doesn't look like much, you know? At the beginning, it looks like nothing. Like, wow, what a huge tempo blowout. But when you're playing with, like, a lot of cheap stuff, it's not really that big of a deal. Especially if you haven't made your land drop for the turn. You can easily Gush, just replay at least one of your lands. It was always a really good combo with foil. Was that a thing in Pauper? Did they play with foil? Did they do the foil Gush combo? Or was there another combo? I'm not familiar with the deck list. I'm sure foil was completely useless after Gush got banned. But this was like Force of Will. You may discard an island and another card from your hand instead of paying foil's mana cost on counter target spell. Foil was definitely a thing. I know back in the day when I first started playing Magic, they showed me foil. I played the foil. I also played Force of Will at the same time. Can never have enough of these cards. Can we have foil in Modern? You may discard an island and another card from your hand. This might actually be more powerful than Force of Negation. Might be. It's a huge beating on card advantage. But holy crap, do I have a lot of useless islands. Gush is such a cringe name for a card. Gush plus Mystic Sanctuary was bonkers. Was Mystic Sanctuary an island? Yeah. Wow, one of the greatest islands of the game. And I couldn't use this for Merfolk. How sad. Yeah, so you could island... Hold on, when it enters the battlefield untapped, Mystic Sanctuary enters the battlefield tapped unless you control 3 or more other islands. But you need 3 or more other islands. So basically, you bring it back to hand, and then after a few more turns... I mean, if the game goes long, and they do in Pauper, yeah, this is an insane combo with Gush. You just Gush over and over and over again. How gushing. Where's... Yes, foil, Gush, Daze, Delver was a thing. Basically, they banned all the Delver cards. All of them. They gotta go. Okay, back to the actual card that got banned. We've got Gush here. So anyway, it's insane card advantage. It's not... See, the deal is, people think that it's a downside to put the 2 islands to your hand, but it's usually an advantage. It's usually not that big of a deal. And you can use those islands for value. Either for foil, and apparently now also for Mystic Sanctuary. So this is... I still have my old foil. Yeah, don't part your way with those foils. Foil, Daze, and Gush were legal at the same time. Foil, Daze... Yeah, those 3 were definitely legal at the same time, but I don't think Mystic Sanctuary was part of that crowd. Foil plus Gush plus Mystic Sanctuary, you have a very powerful answer to basically everything in the format. Replay a land, then draw 2. Replay a land, draw 2. It was effectively just return 1 land back to your hand. These were the staples in my Psychotog deck. Yeah, Modern has Force and Negation, but they don't have foil. Foil is way more powerful. Counter target spell. Not to counter target non-creature spell. Not play things for free on just your opponent's turn. You can do it on your turn. But it comes at a price. A huge price. Trinic, again with the super chat. Thank you so much. Fun question. How do you know a card was printed at common in older sets without set symbols? Did Wizard just indicate it in another way? People just discovered it by just how common the card was. So after you opened up tons and tons of boosters, you recognize, okay, certain cards were like really common, certain cards were not. That's how it was back in the day. I guess it was like really awkward trying to determine the uncommons. But I guess after enough time, I don't know when, but then they just acknowledged exactly what was common and uncommon and rare. As far as I know, if there was another method to discover what was common, let me know in the chat or let me know in the comment section. Don't sell your cards unless you need the money or have a good plan for that money. What about if the card is banned and you don't want it anymore? How about that? How about that reason? Scry magazines? Scry magazines might have told you. The cut sheets would tell you? Would they? I think way back in the day, they didn't say anything. Like these days, it says a C at the bottom. Starter decks had card lists with rarities, like way back in the day they did? Okay. Yeah, well, at some point, Wizard Coast told us what's a common and uncommon. But it wasn't always like that. Mikey J says, don't sell your cards. And he says, I have a lot of banned cards. He's going to the grave with them. The old Inquest magazines. I just remember the Scry magazines. Yeah, but those magazines, wow. The moment the internet came up, those magazines were just dead. You don't need them for anything anymore. Is there any gaming magazine that still exists? Like, does IGN still print physical paper magazines? Like, what's the point? Okay, this is a funny one. Oh, this is a funny banned card. Invigorate. Invigorate, 1 green, 2 generic. If you control a forest, you may have an opponent gain 3 life instead of paying Invigorate's mana cost. Target creature gets +4/+4 until end of turn. Is Infect a deck? Like, is Infect legal? What's a legal Infector? Is Glistener Elf common? It is. It is a common. Alright then. Is Infect still a deck? Like, could they use some help, maybe? They don't have Gataxian Probe anymore. They don't have... Is Infect still around? I don't really see... I mean, Invigorate's... It's a good card, but I don't know if it's ban-worthy. Like, it's a good card. I'm not gonna deny that, but maybe... Like, who's gonna play it? Oh, 3 life. I mean, in theory, a prowess deck might be able to play this one as well. So maybe there's more decks than just... sounds like another Storm card. It could. Elves, Goblins, Mono Blue Fairies. Infect looks dead. I don't see a single Infect deck here, unless it's named something else. Slivers, Elves, Goblins, Fairies, Mono Blue, Teamer, Familiars, Burn. Infect is a fringe deck now. Then unban the card. They just wanted Might of Old Crozat common, wink wink. So what, they gave them that? Infect was the only valid answer to Cloud Post decks back in the day. Oh my god, Cloud Post was legal at one point? It got banned alongside it. And right now, it's just okay. It just got Might of Old Crozat, which kind of helps. I think unban... I don't think this is worth it. I mean, I totally understand that. Like, it's a free card. It can create free wins. Blah, blah, blah. Give Infect something. I don't know, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm insane. Turn 1 Glistener Elf, and you have like 3 Invigorates. That's just a free win. Am I crazy to give Infect something? Would Infect go over the top with Invigorate unbanned? I think it's probably safe now, says Graham. Do we have enough removal spells in the format to deal with this? Turn 2 wins are not favored in Pauper. Not favored or not liked very much. That's one that could be unbanned, to be honest. The quality of removals increased, and infected decks doesn't do that well on those no-ban tournaments that I've talked about yesterday. Interesting. Lots of removal. Oh, you even have Snuff Out. That's right. That's a free one. You want to play your... But you could be effectively dead. Like, I mean, well, maybe not. Even by turn 2, if you invigorate twice on a Glistener Elf, you still live. You still have another turn. So I think, unless you have 3 invigorates and like Vines of Vastwood, I think this is fine. I think this was banned at like it's It's a good card, but it's only ban worthy if like a deck is getting out of line, and it sounds like Infect is not getting out of line. This is not worthy of being on the ban list. As usual, Monday to Friday, 8 o'clock a.m. Central Standard Time. That's when this show happens, so be there or be square. I got a P.O. box. If you send something to me, I'll open it up on the stream. Thanks everyone for the support, all the super chats, and all the new memberships. I appreciate it. You're making the second job worth it for me. But most importantly, thank you for everyone for being part of the conversation. You Pauper players love the conversation. Last Pauper video did great. We have more Pauper videos to go. Maybe we got to do a deep dive on like every single Pauper deck. I'll review Pauper decks and determine if they're good or bad. So keep brewing up those coffees, and we'll keep brewing up the magic. Take care of yourselves, and I'll see you